Most overseas buyers lose money in China sourcing for one simple reason: payment terms. They pay too much, too early, and then they have zero leverage when production is late, quality is poor, or the supplier changes the rules. The good news is, you don't need to fight suppliers to stay safe. You just need a buyer-safe payment structure that matches your order risk. In this video, I'll give you 3 practical payment term structures you can copy and use today. And I'll also show you when each structure makes sense, what to put in writing, and how to keep the relationship friendly while still protecting your cash. Let's start with a quick mindset shift. Payment terms are not just money. Payment terms are a control tool. They are how you control production priorities, quality discipline, delivery timing, and problem solving. So if your payment terms are weak, everything becomes harder. Now, before we jump into the 3 structures, here are 2 simple rules you should remember. Rule number 1. Never pay 100% upfront for mass production. If the supplier asks for it, that's usually a red flag, or they don't trust you yet. Rule number 2. Your final payment should be tied to a clear milestone. Not a vague promise like, "We will ship soon." A real milestone, like passed inspection or goods loaded. Okay, now let's go into the 3 buyer-safe payment structures. Structure number 1, 30/70 with inspection hold. This is the most common structure, and it can be buyer-safe if you set it up correctly. Here's how it works. You pay 30% deposit to start production. Then you pay 70% balance only after the goods pass inspection. But the key is this phrase, pass inspection. If you don't define inspection, the term becomes meaningless. So your purchase contract or PI should clearly state inspection timing, before shipment, inspection standard, for example AQL level, or your checklist, inspection result handling. What happens if it fails? Who pays for rework and reinspection if needed? Here's a simple line you can include. Balance payment, 70%, is due after pre-shipment inspection is passed. If inspection fails, supplier will repair or rework, and buyer may reinspect before making balance payment. This one sentence protects you, because it creates leverage. The supplier knows, if they cut corners, they don't get paid. Now, when should you use this 30/70 structure? Use it when the product is not extremely complex. You have a clear spec and sample approval. The supplier is not brand new, or at least has been verified. Your order value is medium risk. If you're a new buyer, this is a good default, but only if you actually do the inspection. At Yan Sourcing, this is one of the most common structures our clients use, because we can help with supplier verification, sample approval, and pre-shipment inspection, so the inspection hold part is real, not just words. Now let's talk about the weak version of 30/70, so you can avoid it. The weak version is 30% deposit, 70% before shipment. Before shipment sounds okay, but it's vague. A supplier can say, "We are ready to ship. Please pay." And you still haven't checked anything. So always upgrade it to 70% after passing inspection. Structure number 2, milestone payments for larger or customized orders. This structure is great when you're doing custom products, multiple components, or anything where one inspection at the end is too late. Here's the logic. Instead of paying in 2 steps, you pay in 3 or 4 steps, tied to real milestones. A practical example is 20-50-30. 20% deposit to secure materials and start production, 50% after pre-production sample or first article is approved, 30% after final inspection is passed, before shipment. This is buyer safe because you reduce risk in the middle. If the supplier misunderstands your product or can't meet the spec, you find out early, before you've paid most of the money. Another example for projects or multiple items is 30-30-30-10. 30% deposit, 30% after key materials are confirmed or after pilot run, 30% after inspection passed, 10% after shipping documents are issued or after goods are loaded. That final 10% is important in some cases. Why? Because sometimes the supplier passes inspection but delays shipping, or changes packing, or doesn't follow labeling instructions. A small final hold can keep them responsive until the job is fully completed. Now, when should you use milestone payments? Use milestone payments when you have a custom design, new mold, or high customization. The order value is large, and mistakes are expensive. Lead time is long. There are multiple quality risks, not just final appearance. Also, milestone payments are perfect when you are working with a new supplier, but you want to build trust. You're basically saying, I'm willing to pay, but I will pay step by step as you prove performance. That feels fair to good suppliers. Now, how do you make milestone payments work smoothly? You must define the milestones clearly. For example, first article approved means what exactly? Is it one sample? Is it a signed sample? Is it a photo approval? Write it down. Materials confirmed means what? Is it confirmed by photos? By supplier invoice? By a material sample? Inspection passed means whose inspection? Third party? Buyer's checklist? AQL? The clearer you are, the less you argue later. This is also where a China-based team can make things much easier. At Yan Sourcing, we often help clients set the milestone definitions, collect proof at each step, and keep both sides aligned, so payment becomes a smooth process instead of a stressful negotiation. Structure number 3. Production-Escrow style, with a safety buffer. Now, this structure is not available in every transaction, but the idea is very powerful. The concept is simple. You create a controlled release of funds. Instead of sending a big payment directly to the supplier early, you keep the money under control and release it when milestones are met. In some cases, platforms or trade services can support this. In other cases, buyers use a trusted sourcing partner or a controlled account process. But even if you don't use a formal escrow, you can copy the logic by using smaller deposits and stronger milestone requirements. A practical version looks like this. Small deposit, like 10% to 20%. Larger middle payment only after verified progress. Final balance after inspection passed. This structure works best when you are dealing with a supplier you don't fully trust yet. The supplier is asking for high deposit. The product has high risk, and rework would be expensive. You want maximum control with minimal conflict. Now, let's be realistic. Many factories prefer 30% deposit. Some will ask for 40% or even 50% if raw materials are expensive. So what do you do if the supplier refuses your buyer-safe terms? Here are 3 practical ways to negotiate without damaging the relationship. Method 1. Trade deposit for planning. If the supplier insists on a higher deposit, ask for something in exchange. For example, okay, we can do 40% deposit, but we need a confirmed production schedule, weekly photo updates, and balance payment only after inspection passed. You are giving them earlier cash, but you are buying control. Method 2. Split the deposit. Instead of 30% at once, do 15% plus 15%. For example, 15% to book raw materials, 15% after you approve pre-production sample. This is psychologically easier for suppliers and safer for buyers. Method 3. Use inspection as a non-negotiable. You can be flexible on deposit percentage, but stay firm on the final payment condition. For example, we understand your deposit requirement. We can discuss deposit, but the balance must be after inspection is passed. This one point alone protects you more than most buyers realize. Now let's cover a few common mistakes buyers make with payment terms so you can avoid them. Mistake number 1. Paying the balance because the supplier says ready. Some suppliers will say ready when the goods are 80% done, or not packed properly, or not labeled. So don't pay based on words. Pay based on a verified milestone. Inspection passed. Mistake number 2. Not linking payment to your packaging and labeling requirements. For many buyers, packaging is not a small detail. It affects damage rate, warehouse receiving, and customer experience. If you need specific packaging, cartons, barcodes, or labels, put it into your written agreement. And make it part of the inspection checklist. Mistake number 3. Skipping sample approval, then blaming the factory. If you didn't approve a golden sample or pre-production sample, your quality expectation is vague, and vague expectations create disputes. So if you want buyer-safe payment terms, you also need buyer-safe documentation, spec sheets, sample approval, and clear inspection criteria. Now, let's put everything into a simple decision guide. If you're a small buyer, repeat order product, medium risk. Use structure. 1. 30/70 after inspection passed. If you're doing custom products, new designs, large orders, or long lead time, use structure 2. Milestone payments like 20/50/30 or 30/30/30/10. If you're dealing with a new supplier, higher risk, or the supplier is asking for aggressive payment terms, use structure 3. Controlled release logic, smaller deposit, verified progress, final payment after inspection. And one more important point. Buyer-safe payment terms only work if you actually follow them. That means you don't feel bad and pay early to be nice. You don't rush payment because the supplier pressures you. And you don't skip inspection to save a small fee and then lose a whole container. At Yan Sourcing, we help overseas buyers set up these structures, verify suppliers, track production, run inspections, and coordinate shipping. So payment terms become part of a complete risk control system, not just a negotiation line on a pro forma invoice. If you want help designing buyer-safe payment terms for your specific product or project, check the link in the description and contact Yan Sourcing. Tell us what you're buying, your target market, and your order value, and we'll suggest the safest payment structure for your situation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.